All right. Get set for Neil, who's just crushing the competition, as yesterday's book reflected once again. Oh, gosh. Nothing changes. And that's a good thing. So you must be feeling pretty good today.
I was told we have no crossover today because you have guest interview at 10 o'clock or something like that?
I have a couple minutes.
No. Well, then who the hell's giving me bum information there? Josh?
I don't know. Oh, I don't speak to those people.
To what people?
Any of them.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
As little as possible.
Yeah.
That's the one good thing about these hours. You know, I'm out of here before the brass comes in.
See, I was at Woodbine yesterday. I had my BlackBerry, and it, buzzed in my pocket, and I picked it out of my pocket, and I turned it on, and there was the email from Duff about the ratings.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'm losing a little bit here today, but I got this nice fat bonus coming, so who the hell cares? And then I emailed him back, and I said, I am the best. I want to do I am the greatest, because that's already been taken.
Yeah, somebody did that already.
Plus, I don't want to get, whatever he's got. What has he got?
He has a Parkinson's syndrome.
Yeah, and so did the Pope have that. But
he
hung around a long time.
Yeah. But the Pope didn't get hit in the face 10,000 times.
I have a great line for that, but that would be the end of this. Oh, man, if I got a good line for that.
I'm not trying to get rid of you, honest. I didn't see you up for that reason.
Joy sure as hell might stick her nose into it, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bitch.
Anyway, congratulations again.
Yeah, you're starting to make a little move.
Yeah, I saw that the last month.
Kind of like crypto clearance starting to come out in the stretch.
Yep. I had 2 bad months. And
well, the good part of it is next trend, one of them is going to drop out. So.
Yeah, and the last month, I guess, was all right. So.
Yeah, and the best part of the deal is the other guys are doing basically nothing. For all the big simus about them and all the noise they make, they're doing not much of anything. They've kind of sought their own level.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, I'm the only one that has any competition over there.
Yeah. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I see Dan LeBastard. I'm taking a poll today. What South Florida radio or TV personality you hate like poison the most? And we knew it would be Rush would win hands down. But Dan LeBastard is a very respectable second place. Danny boy. I shouldn't probably mention that, though.
Why not?
Because he might do an Art Teele.
Oh.
Right in the Herald building. See, one thing, if you're going to kill yourself, do it in a place where you're going to get a lot of publicity. You know?
Yeah, well...
The only thing would have been better if he'd gone to 4, 6, or 7, or 10. Probably Channel 7 would have been good.
Yeah, but they don't have deadlines. So
yeah, that's true. Now, he could have gone into Channel 7. They could have put it on the air live, knowing them. Oh, man.
You know, that's a terrible story. And apparently it was an article in New Times that pushed him over the edge.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, the cover story, I think the headline on the cover is Sleaze and Corruption, Arthur Teele.
That would do it for me.
How about Jim DeFede getting fired? Did you see that?
Oh, did he really? Probably too fat.
No.
Too fat for the Herald, or maybe he told the truth too much when he said the paper used to be great and they finally got around to reading it.
Here's what happened. About 90 minutes before he killed himself, Arthur Teele called...
Jim DeFede killed himself?
No. Arthur Teele called DeFede.
Right.
And DeFede recorded parts of the conversation without permission from Teele or without telling him he was recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's against the law. And DeFede, according to the story, went to his editors and told them what happened, assuming that he was probably looking at a suspension. I guess he thought he worked here. And they said they fired him. They said they had to fire him because he was in violation of the law.
Well, we know the Herald would certainly never violate the law.
No, it's been, that's the paper that, hit out in Gary Hart's bushes. But
right. Gary, what was his name? Tom Fiedler in his yellow trench coat, right?
But, something, it's been a tough year for newspapers.
Well, all I can tell you is the dumbing down of America makes newspapers kind of superfluous now. Most people don't read a newspaper.
Yep.
Remember the golden days in New York, and even in Miami when he had the Miami News? That was a pretty good newspaper.
Hey, New York used to have 15 papers.
Right, exactly. Every city had a whole bunch of newspapers, and now, how many are left in New York? You got the Newsday, you got the Times, you got the Post, and the Daily News. What else?
I think there's one other, but that's it.
4 or 5. You used to have 15.
Yep.
Pretty sad.
Yes, it is.
But then when
there were some really good newspapers. Yeah, I mean, the Herald Tribune was a tremendous paper. the World Telegram, the Journal. There was the News in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Brooklyn
All of these
Eagle.
things.
All of these things.
Right. Long gone. Well, it's a different era, man. It's a different era. Just sit back and watch the bubbleheads hyperventilate on TV. Soledad O'Brien and Ricky Tiki Sanchez, and that's news in America. That's why you got a moron for a president. That's why all these people are getting killed and nobody cares, because we got to worry about which bubblehead is missing in Aruba and which one is missing on our honeymoon and all this other crap.
How about the story?
Not to mention the runaway bride, of course.
How about the story with Jeb doesn't remember any details of the Supreme Court nominee coming down here to help resolve the election?
Right. And then I have an article on our website, I think yesterday or today, about how his role in that, Robert's role in that, was much greater than
he
admitted.
He was here for 10 days.
Yeah. Him and James Baker III, who now is the attorney for the Saudis, who got sued for 9/11.
Well, a guy named Cruz from Texas who was involved. It was the guy who blew the whistle on the whole thing, and Jeb comes back and says, I don't have any recollection of that.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was sharing some of Noel's stash. Maybe it's affecting his mind. Seriously, I said a few weeks ago when he was starting that thing again about Terry Schiavo, when he wouldn't let it die, so to speak, that he ought to be Baker-acted. I think he's losing it. I don't understand why he's still so popular in Florida, how anybody, no matter their political stripe, can support him. He's a maniac.
I don't know.
People, you voted for this, you voted for the bullet train, forget about it. You voted for the slots in Broward, forget about it. You voted for classroom size reduction, forget about it. I'll do whatever the hell I want.
Yep.
He's a crazy person.
He's a dictator.
Yeah. Seems to go around in that family.
Anyway.
On that note, I don't want to step on your interviews now. Who are you going to be interviewing? Anybody besides Ricky?
I'm doing a thing about Marino for next Friday, and I'm putting together a bunch of interviews since he's going in the Hall of Fame next weekend.
Well, I sure hope you have Eddie Pope on that. Boy, he and Marino are pretty tight.
As a matter of fact, I am interviewing Eddie.
See, I told you. There's the man you want to go to.
Yeah, I miss Eddie in the paper.
He has seen parts of Dan Marino that even his wife hasn't seen. That's what I hear. That's how tight those two are.
I'll ask him about that.
Yeah. Ask him if they ever shower together, like on a weekend.
I don't know if I'll go there.
Where do the showers are the question. Well, listen, have a great whatever, because I'm going on vacation now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You have the life.
Yes, I do. I'll be back, let's see, Tuesday, August 9th, so mark it down on your wrist. And you got some pretty nice stuff coming up.
And then I'll be going away.
Vegas and Del Mar. And
yeah. That's after you get back.
Yeah.
Well, have a great vacation. Where are you going?
Germany.
Ah, terrific. Where?
I'm going to go get some real bratwurst. I'm going to Berlin and Frankfurt.
Well, I love Berlin.
Yeah, I do too. I've been there many times. Frankfurt I've never been to, but I hear it's pretty interesting.
Beautiful. It's a terrific city.
You've been there?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to get to see the old sauerkrauts.
Okay. Well, have fun.
And I might actually take a few German lessons too. You can never learn too much German the way this regime is going in the U.S. now.
I was going to teach you a couple of key German phrases, but Joyce might be listening.
Yeah. So. Well, I think German and Yiddish, there's a pretty strong crossover, so I think I might know what they are.
I know how to say it hits the fan in German.
Have a great time.
Hey, you have a good day and a good trip.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Absolutely.
Everybody hates everybody all the time. That's the way of life in Florida. Forehead popped with veins in anger, and hostile heads down. Everybody hates everybody all the time, driving on intolerance and fear. It's where disenfranchised congregate, and they don't want you here. You'll find their attitude quite sour. With a machete, they threaten to slice you to the bone. Stand in the gridlock of rush hour. Out the window, someone calls you Matagone. Everybody hates everybody all the time.
All right.
So how the English do? Something in the breeze is wafting from Pompano
10:08 at 560 WQAM. Happy Thursday, July 28th. Man, I want to tell you, I know it's an old cliche, but this month just went zooming by. I just can't get over it.
It really did.
Huh?
It did.
Everybody tells me the same thing. What happened to it? It just flew by. Just like my vacation's going to fly by. And then you'll find that there'll be like a little over a month for the summer scam I got going. And that'll fly by. And then I'll be back to that 5-day-a-week thing. Oh, right. No way. No way, Jorge. That's bad. Oh, can't we just extend my contract 10 years till I croak and then just stay with the Tuesday and Thursday? Sounds good. Works out well for me. Anyway, thanks to all the people out there that supported us nicely. It's like an election this time.
Right.
Our audience is finally getting the message. They're really learning big time. Now they're loyal. You know, just like the Julios with their Radio Mambi and their other no speak English, the old green tutulios. Well, our people are starting to get really militant. And it's a good thing. Don't stop now.
Yes.
Don't stop now. Listen 6 hours a day to our show, every day. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Like
Please.
from 9 till whatever.
Right.
Some Hank, some Mo, some anybody you want. Everybody. And the other guys over there, now Air America's making a little bit of a move, but the best part of that deal is that looks like most of their audience is coming from IOD. Boy, how the mighty have fallen, Rush. At 11:30, Duff is going to come up running there. Hey, Duff.
You fairy.
And she's going to have the hourlies, the hour by hour, so we can really get the lowdown. Because this is all great, you know, we appreciate the bonus and being number one by a mile, but we'll find out just exactly who's naughty and nice. We'll find out if the Big O is really
rock solid
in that 6 to 7 hour. Then we'll see if the Humper is making some inroads there. Hank beat Joe Rose. That's a pretty good battle there in the month of June and overall. I think Joe had like a 2-6 in June and Hank had a 4 in men.
That is correct.
Am I right? What a memory, huh? I got a good memory for stuff that's totally unimportant. What was I starting to say, though?
You were saying we're number one.
Oh, I was saying that they're not doing much, those guys over there, and that's why it was so embarrassing and humiliating. I feel unclean. I have to get some extra Zest body wash and smear it all over myself about that thing with the poll that they took in the Sun Sentinel that we wimped out on. I still can't get an answer whose decision that was.
We have to be accurate. It's a 2-5 for WAXY.
Okay, sorry, not a 2-6. Well, I'm exaggerating. I always liked Joe anyway. But that thing where we wimped out and they took that newspaper poll and we let them get about all the people at the Herald, including even our Teele, I think, voted on a few times before he blew his brains out for Dan LeBastard. As a matter of fact, it's really interesting, the poll we're taking today, which I'll get to momentarily, but Dan LeBastard, they hate you like poison, and rightfully so, too, man. He is one of the biggest ice holes that ever came down the pike. He's a real jerk. And the fact that the Bookster is consorting with him, that just seems like such an unlikely duo, you know?
Well, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to duo what you got to do, or you got to do it. No, seriously, I don't understand that. I thought that Boog had better taste in human beings than that. It's just
well, you're a coworker, you know. You got to support your coworkers.
No, before that. He's the one that got the Boog to go over there.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't care what Josh Cordes said. That wasn't the right move. That wasn't the smart move. Being the voice of the Marlins on TV for like the next 20 years, that would have been a good thing, especially if they get the new stadium. See, short-term money, that's what Josh is judging by, because he's a schlepper and he's a little punk, and so he doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together. That's why when he gets that check, he rushes to the bank and cashes it right away before I change my mind.
Left in the middle of the show.
Yeah. But he doesn't understand that short-term monetary gains as opposed to long-term career goals, which isn't that kind of a flowery way of putting it? It sounds like a pile of crap to me.
Sure.
But that's not the way to go, eh?
Well, as I told you, they offered him a 1-year contract.
Who did? The Marlins?
Marlins.
Well, if you have confidence in yourself and you know you're going to do a fine job, which he does, he's an excellent play-by-play guy, he shouldn't have had to worry about that. How many years do you think Geldy got on the Panther deal? And I got news for you. Who are we more certain would have done a fantastic job, Boog or Geldy? I mean, you know. Huh?
Yeah, it would be Boog.
I had to think about that a lot. Oh, here's one. Today's poll, Lonnie Quinn. Who's Lonnie Quinn? It says Lonnie Quinn. Who's that?
He's a weather fairy.
Oh, the weather fairy. We got so many weather fairies in so little time, huh? That is bad. We don't need any more weather fairies. Of course, he'll be occupied for a while. And I can't imagine doing what, but, maybe I can. 10:13 at 560 WQAM. We got all the ratings. I got a huge pile, man. I am really psyched about this. We only got 3 hours and 47 minutes, but who's counting? We got the Molemeister at 2. Who I understand through the grapevine came in and consorted with George toward the end of the show yesterday. We're bonding with the Mo Man. And if you're for that poll today, thanks to us, thanks to Boca Brian, they've warmed up to Mo. See, he probably thought that they would give him a lot of votes for hating him. They don't hate him, no Mo.
We wouldn't have had all those bits. He's the inspiration for a great line of comments.
He finally took him all these years to try to finally figure it out. Mad Dog at 4. 6:30 Marlins on deck. They won a game last night. A lot of rain delay, but nevertheless. Pirates at the Marlins, 7:05 tonight. That's the rubber game. Is that correct? That series before the Nats come to town? And then Eddie K follows the baseball game. That's our award-winning lineup at QAM. We're 10 to 2. We're kicking some big, fat, smelly, pimply ass. 10:13, I think.
Neil God.
We're number 1, damn it!
All right, you're off. You can't rate me ever again. You're off limits to my shapely rear end. And that's a direct division by choice. And unless, of course, I can pick my own boys. Now all I got to do is to put a stop to the noise. One more toy out of you and you're on a point. Up and down, inside and out. You better get your mitts off the merchandise now.
You're an old fool. You think you're so cool. Take off your second pants so I can hear you say,
I got nothing to lose since my virginity's lost, so give me back my baggy blue shorts. Why, I'll show you who's the boss. Let's get back to this activity of sports.
Funny past 10, man. I can't wait till hockey season. I'm going to come rushing in here and crank up the audio so I can hear those Panther games. You believe me?
No.
Well, maybe like 5 minutes of it. Here's a fax from somebody who says, hey, Neil, on the Schmitty QAM website, the station schedule still has last week's schedule. Are those ice holes a week behind all the time? What a joke. Yes, they are, of course. Yes. And just leave them alone, okay? They got bigger fish to fry. They got that Power 96 thing that they're doing down the hall, which I don't even know what the hell that is.
No.
What is it? They're like cranking up. They got a rooster coming in to like rub its legs together and make the signal stronger?
I have no idea.
I see. The Power 96 hamster has got some HD, I don't know what that's all about.
Oh, the HD digital thing, that thing. Yeah.
What is that?
HD digital, baby.
So what is that? What is HD digital radio?
Okay, if you have an HD digital radio, it'll make
how many people in the world have one?
About 30, man.
Yeah.
It'll make our station sound like FM. Basically.
No, but that's Power 96.
Yeah, it'll make it sound better.
Oh, I see.
And we'll be there eventually, too.
But we also are AM stereo, aren't we?
No, but we are digital.
I beg your pardon?
We are digital for no good reason.
We are digital?
We are.
But nobody can hear us in digital because nobody's got one of those receivers, right?
No.
Right.
Oh, boy, that's pretty impressive. We can't stay on the air, and we can't keep the stuff working most of the time. But other than that, we are digital, baby. Let's hear it. Maybe that's why we're number 1, at least in middays anyway. Well, we got some work to do, some of the other day parts. We'll find out at 11:30 who's naughty and nice, who's really got the big number in there. Not that I want to gloat, but it's just, see, this worked out great because today's my last show for a couple of weeks before that vacation. And, it's nice to go out with a big number in there and a little bonus check, all this other stuff, as opposed to, oh, geez, we really suck, that kind of thing. Remember when Boy Gary would come in when we had a bad trend? Oh, we suck, as opposed to just coming in and saying, well, we got hosed, we got a bad trend, nobody is speaking English, ethnic diary, some excuse. Oh, we suck. And I always used to think, well, speak for yourself, Gary. Although I know Hank was very fond of him. Gary Bruce. Turn him loose and give him a goose.
That was fun.
Good old Gary Bruce. What an idiot. 880 votes on George's poll yesterday. What is the worst ethnic group you can be born into? Oh, and that goes to show it's a good thinking there because life is more the luck of the draw than anything else.
Sure is.
I know it's easy to say, well, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And yeah, you're right. Where you're born, who you're born into, and all of that. That's what it's all about. That's about 90% of life, 95, 99%. Right?
Right.
I mean, like if you're born in I don't even want to say it.
Africa?
I didn't say that.
I did.
I was thinking it, worst ethnic group you can be born into, Arabic Muslim, 233. Now, see, again, that goes to show the current hostility that's simmering out there against these schmata-heads, the ragheads, like that. Can't stand them. And that's, of course, you're entitled. Because all these terrorist groups, and especially the IRA now in the UK, says that 4 this afternoon, which is what, about 37 minutes away, it'll be 4 in the afternoon their time. They're 5 hours ahead. At 4 o'clock this afternoon, they're laying down their arms. The Cordettes are singing on Cadence Records, "Lay Down Your Arms." See, that's for Boca Brian. All us old farts, you know. Seriously, shouldn't there be like an old farts radio retirement home where all of us can go, like, kind of like, what was that movie, Cocoon, with Don Amici and who else was it, Art Carney?
He was in that,
all
right?
those old radio crows, you know, Cousin Brucey can go there. "You're disgusting, you're disgusting." And then Mo could be there going like that. That would be great. What a way to go that would be. Anyway, Arabic Muslim, 233. That'd be bad. Black American, 193. Now, what is Black American as opposed to African American?
Well, that's what I meant by that.
No. Black African Immigrant, 64. I see you've got so many black categories on here.
Sure,
Why don't you just say it's bad to be born black? It's an excellent point in this racist world in which we live.
But some blacks have a harder time than others.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Black African Immigrant, 64. Black Caribbean Islander, 62. Oh, no, but it's a good machine, man.
Yeah.
It's a good machine. I don't want to get started. I could so easily say something right here, but I'm not going to do it. There was a woman sitting by me. Oh, man. Woo! See, it's one thing if you don't bathe, but if you don't wash your clothes, so in other words, like if your sweater and your blouse...
they usually go together.
If your clothing stinks like you just were laying in a septic tank for a few hours, it's probably not a good idea to go out in pubic. African 58, Jewish 58. Don't want to be born Jewish because everybody hates the Jews. Central American Indian 37. North American Indian 32. Female 27. Yeah, the poor abused women. Black Hispanic 27. Which we only see those people coming from the Mariel boat lift. French 25. South American Indian 20. Eskimos/Inuits 17. White Hispanic 17. Why is that?
I don't know. I was complaining about that. It's like, what's so wrong about that? As long as you don't have an accent, you can blend
Well, they just
anywhere.
don't like you because you don't speak English. Vietnamese 5, Japanese 3, and Chinese 2. So everybody likes those E's. If it ends in E's, Nipponese, Chinese, Japanese, that's okay. Vietnamese, but if it's like other, especially dark, the darker you get, the more problems you got. And I think that's probably true. Okay, I better save the Art Teele story. Here's today's poll. Huh? Well, and I'm glad Hank told me about the Jim DeFede thing because I noticed I missed that this morning. A very bad job by me. I missed it. It was like, of course, the Herald website sucks so bad anyway that things that really ought to be given greater importance are like little tiny. And like the thing about the slots. Remember, I kept asking you what happened with the Broward thing.
Right.
And I had to do like 80 million hours of research to find the story about that, about how they said, well, we'll have a special session of the legislature this fall, and and they overruled Judge Moe, poor Judge Moe. Here's our poll today, and of course, since South Florida is the land of hate, which is one of the reasons that so many people are bailing out. A lot of people are coming in, but they won't be there long. What South Florida radio or TV personality do you hate like poison the most? And the reason I put the most is because you can hate a whole bunch of us, but more than anybody. And this could be somebody who either broadcasts there or like Rush, who's, syndicated. It makes no difference this time. 215 votes. Rush has got 87. They hate you, Rush, you pill-popping hypocrite phony. Rick Sanchez, 25. Dan LeBastard, 24. Right on Ricky's ass. Todd Schmidt, 15. George has got 15. You're tied with Todd. Mr. Ego, Steve Kane, 13. We got that disgusting. Diversity bored my ass. Maybe you could elope with Marty Rubenstein, Mr. I'm going to stop calling him Mr. Ego, Mr. Homophobe. See, because if you're gonna suddenly turn into a right-wing, fanatical, Christian, born-again lunatic, that's got to be the centerpiece of your existence as being a homophobe. So that's Mr. Homophobe. Steve Kane, 13. Spilky's Narrate, 10. Mo Howard David's only got 9. Neil Rogers, 7. That's why you're listening right now. Hank Goldberg, 6. Geldy, 2. Lonnie Quinn, 1. And Tony Cigaretto, 1. I don't hate Tony. He's just he's like a silly person. I don't like silly people doing the news, you know?
No, I don't know.
27 after 10 at 560. Like Cambrell Martian. Remember him on Channel 6? Cambrell Martian's the sports guy. He was a good guy. And then all of a sudden he was a news guy. Kind of like Tony Cigaretto. For years. See, God's punishing me.
This is an ABC News special report.
One of the most consequential decisions the president makes is his appointment of a justice to the Supreme Court. And so a nominee to that court must be a person of superb credentials and the highest integrity. I have found such a person in Judge John Roberts. My decision to nominate Judge Roberts to the Supreme Court came after a thorough and deliberative process, conducted with fairness and civility.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. See, you can't go wrong with mo.
Lay off, Bird Brain. Judge Roberts, thank you for agreeing to serve, and congratulations.
This has been a presentation of ABC News.
You can't go wrong with Mo. He'll be here at 2 o'clock to prove it, with Bill Scourin's great aunt Gladys as a special celebrity guest on the phone. 10:32 at 560. But we need a lot of those Chuck Meyer phoners, man. That's what we need, those phone interviews. That should put us way over the top.
Hey, a lot of work went into that show.
Not on this show, though. Former city commander. I probably left some names off the pool before I do the Art Teele business and the Jim DeFede business. Thanks to the Humper for the heads up on Jim DeFede. Won't see him no mo. How come he didn't blow him by? That would have been a real mess if he'd have blown himself up at the Herald. WQAM, hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, the sandstorm get you.
I beg your pardon?
Did the sandstorm get you?
No.
I got to vote for
sandstorm
your
was
phone.
in Florida, not in Toronto, no.
Got to vote for your phone?
Yep.
Stan Lebastage. Hit.
Am I ever going to learn or what?
No.
Huh?
No.
I got the Art Teele stuff. We got a huge pile. We got some more dead people in Iraq, although things are going incredibly well.
That's right.
And but we got to get some more names on here. How about some names that aren't already on the poll, pal? That would be good. 5670560, pound 560. I'll humor them. We'll take a few of these. It's not mandatory, but I guess just for the hell of it. Till 11:30 anyway. When we get to all that research, all those numbers, hour by hour, shower of power, and all that other good stuff. Won't that be great?
Oh yeah, it'll be wonderful.
Interesting to see how Russia's taken a precipitous decline in him, or at least I think he has. We'll find out with the hourlies, but looks like Scare America. Maybe Al Franken is kicking Russia's ass a little bit. Give him a little spanking. Huh? Would you like to be spanking, getting a spanking from Al Franken? No? How about Catherine Lamper? WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I know you're about ready to get into the Art Teele situation, but can I just put my 2 cents in?
Sure, go ahead.
The guy was a big scumbag, okay?
Can't say that. Now, this caller probably is shaking his head thinking, you can't say that not on this station. That's what Joyce is. In fact, I hope you also, because I'm not really sure about this.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, can't say that.
For no good reason, but nevertheless.
No, for absolutely no good reason. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just determining. Now, if you'd have said dirtbag, that would have been fine, but we can't.
Right.
So we have to move on. And I agree with that. I agree with what he said. The guy was,
absolutely.
Whatever.
A bag of it.
Watch it. WQAM, hello. QAM.
Hey, Neil. I have two of them for you.
Yeah.
How about Bill O'Reilly and
I forgot he was on the air in South Florida. That's right, and so did everybody else. And who's the other one?
Al Franken.
Al Franken. Okay, Al Franken. Ben's brother. Al Franken and Bill O'Reilly. I wonder if Bill O'Reilly broke that point that he's had consistently since he came on the air in South Florida.
I don't even know what station it is. I'll look at it.
I think he's on the same station as Norma Kent. I believe on that 850 on FTL, the Light Bulb Junior, whatever that thing is.
All right, I'll look.
The one where, I don't know.
What's the day part for him?
The gay part?
Yeah.
Gay. I don't know.
Hey, that didn't get dumped, by the way.
Huh?
That didn't get dumped, by the way.
And I hit it, and you hit it.
It did not?
Ain't that wonderful?
No, it didn't.
Well, how's that possible?
I don't know. Let's test it again.
No, seriously, how's that possible? All three of us hit it, and you tell me that it didn't
I don't
happen?
think Josh hit it, but two of us
Two
did.
out of three, but still, that's should be... One out of three should be enough.
Yeah, one should work. Having been told that, I'm not going to take any more calls until we get... No, I'm not.
I know.
I'm not putting myself in that position on the last day before vacation, finding out, well, guess what? We got some kind... And isn't that interesting? Weren't we just talking about our crack engineering staff and about how great everything works not and the yada, yada, yada? Weren't we just talking about that? Yeah. Wow, that is a real kick in the head. Now, how did you find out? Who told you that?
Doug popped his head in and told me.
Really? Now, we're going to have to do this test again? How is that possible?
Maybe it's just working sometimes and not.
Both of them? I'm going to do it right now, okay? And I have no idea. I'm going to do it again in case Duff is in there monitoring. He's got nothing to do.
Let's hit a marker that we're going to have to dump. The dumped phrase will be.
No. I don't think that's really such a good idea.
Because otherwise, we need an identifier for them to listen to something that ain't.
The phrase is going to be what?
The redfish sails at midnight. Dump it.
Okay, the redfish sails at midnight. I'm hitting mine now.
All right, and we're just going to see if that one works.
Okay. Now, if we wait about 7, 8, 10 minutes, we'll find out.
We gotta wait 30 seconds for them to hear if it's dumped.
How many seconds?
He said it dumped. He said it worked that time.
I see. Well, how could it not have worked the other time?
Oh, just one of those.
Get out of here, Duff. I think you're funning us, okay? Starting to hyperventilate and hallucinate from all those months working on the Stern Show, monitoring the every other word.
I think it's random.
It's random?
Yeah, I think it's luck of the draw.
Well, so what does that mean? So what do we do now? We got a random dump? That's nice.
We do our best and we move
The dump button was out taking a dump.
Yeah, it must be. Maybe the engineers were out taking a dump. That sounds more likely to me. Because if any place is referred to as a dump. Let's see, Brian in Pompano Beach says, I saw only part of the documentary called Bush's Brain on the Sundance Channel Tuesday night. Don't know if you or any listeners seen or know about this. It's about Karl Rove and the role he played in getting W into the presidency, and from the little bit I saw, offered some good insight which people may not be aware of about Karl Rove. Hey, Carl!
You fairy!
They have a website, bushesbrain.com. Would like to hear your comments, or from listeners if anyone's seen it. Yeah, Brian, we've had some calls on it. I haven't seen it, though. I have seen The World According to Bush on our website. I saw it on the CBC, and you ought to see it, too, but I'm afraid most people aren't going to watch it, because most people are lazy. Anyway, former city commissioner Arthur E. Teele, Jr., recently indicted on corruption charges, died after shooting himself in the lobby of the Herald building yesterday. That's what he said. Miami police said Teele walked into the Herald building around 6:05 last night, shot himself in the head with a semi-automatic handgun. Emergency personnel transported Teele to Ryder Trauma Center at Jackson Memorial, where he was pronounced dead at 7:50. Rescue workers told Channel 6 that Teele had 2 wounds in the back of his head. Why would you shoot yourself in the back of the head?
No, he put the gun in his mouth and shot twice.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what he did. Apparently he thought he missed the first time.
Oh. On June 14, Teele surrendered to federal authorities in Dade County after a grand jury indicted him on multiple counts of fraud and money laundering charges. Chief John Timoney... Oh, and you know what that reminds me of? That thing that would just happen, if I can interrupt, with the dump. Remember the day we had the Chamba guy, and then
yes.
I dumped it, and somebody called and said, what are you going to do? But you ought to kill that guy.
Right.
Yeah, this thing is working intermittently, okay?
Right.
So maybe before I come back and do my next show on Tuesday, the 9th of August, maybe somebody in that place ought to, check who's being naughty and nice. You crazy people, you. On June 14, Teele surrendered to federal authorities in Dade County after a grand jury indicted him on multiple counts of fraud money laundering charges. Chief John Timoney, who responded to the scene, said the man was very distraught, asked to speak to a reporter. As security guards dialed 911, the man, bada bing. He said, just tell my wife I love her, and then he shot himself once in the head with a semi-automatic handgun. Well, if he only shot himself once in the head, then how could there be 2 wounds in the back of his head?
Maybe it was a magic bullet.
I see. Maybe Arlen Specter had something to do with it, huh? Channel 6 reported that Teele wanted Herald columnist Jim DeFede to speak to his wife. Irby McKnight, a political activist in Overtown, expressed little surprise at Teele's actions. I'm not shocked about this at all, he added, that people in the community have shown little surprise. It's a tragedy every time something like this happens, but again, he's got a lot of baggage. In December, Dade prosecutors filed 10 bribery charges against Teele, who was accused in that case of taking $135,000 in kickbacks from a businessman whose construction company won lucrative contracts to refurbish impoverished Miami neighborhoods. He was scheduled for trial in October. His troubles were the subject of numerous media reports, especially in the Herald. Marvin Dunn, a professor of psychology at FIU, said Teele was sending a message likely to the Herald and the media. The act was a sign of someone who was in pain, Dunn said. Our Teele's been invisible and isolated for a while, Marvin said. It's tragic. I don't especially get along with him, but I'm sad and feel badly for his family. How do you like that? David Alonzo, who works on the 6th floor of the Herald building in sales marketing, said all of a sudden his fire alarms went off. Over the loudspeaker, they announced that the lobby was closed and would be closed for the rest of the night. Bada bing. And Jim DeFede gets fired. Thanks, Hank. We'll get to that. And, of course, more dead people in Iraq, stuff like that. I'm deeply concerned, gravely concerned about this square yellow problem we have, And I'm not talking about nothing Chinese. We have a square yellow problem. A little square thing. Aren't you a little bit concerned about that? Especially since you're the one that's on the hook for the next several days, mister. I would bang that thing until from now until the cows come home.
I'll pound it silly.
Yeah, well, the good part of it is we got this 45-hour delay, so, that is so absolutely unprofessional and unacceptable, too.
Maybe we need to get Duff back in the control room, manning it.
That's a good idea. Hey, you know something? You finally hit the jackpot. Get the Duffmeister in there with that headset on and sitting on the edge of her seat and just hyperventilating. Oh, wouldn't that be a sight?
You fairy. What's Gary Hart doing tonight?
Inquiring minds want to know.
That's why inquiring minds read the Miami Herald. Is Maurice Ferre really having sex with an alien from outer space?
It's in the Herald.
Is Paula Hawkins the true mother of the Elephant Man?
It's in the Herald.
Is John Kennedy sleeping with Max Headroom?
It's in the Herald.
Is Tim Baker about to give birth to Jerry Falwell's baby?
It's in the Herald.
Sex, more hot sex.
Oh, it's in the Herald.
Plus, Gary Hart's amazing rice diet from Florida. A crossword puzzle that has no answers. Our own Pulitzer Prize is just for us.
Head Pope's love letters to Neil Rogers.
And we're so sorry, Uncle Albert, but we haven't heard a bloody thing all day. Mindless, babbling rhetoric.
It's all in the latest issue of
the Miami Herald. Available at supermarket checkout counters everywhere. And where finer manure is spread.
What have I always told you? The Herald is a killer, man. Just ask Art Teele. He'll tell you. Well, he might have told you. Metro columnist Jim DeFede said he taped a phone conversation with Art Teele hours before the politician shot himself, and executives say they fired him because taping is illegal without consent. How do you like that?
Okay.
You law-breaking lunatics over there. The Herald fired columnist Jim DeFede yesterday because he tape-recorded a phone conversation with Art Teele Jr. without his knowledge. Both publisher Jesus Diaz Jr. and executive editor Tom Yellow Trenchcoat Fiedler said they fired the popular Metro writer because it's illegal for anyone to tape a conversation with another person without the individual's consent in Florida. DeFede told them that during his interview with Teele, he turned on a tape machine to record his conversation as the politician confided in him about his public corruption charges, financial problems, other sensitive issues, according to Diaz. At one point, Teele told the columnist he was not speaking on the record, but DeFede continued to record him anyway without his knowledge, Diaz said. Never trust a fat man, I'm telling you right now. And that includes me. Diaz said the Herald had no choice but to dismiss DeFede because his conduct was potentially a felony crime and unethical. Let me say it again. Unethical. With all of our sources, we have to treat them with respect and dignity, Diaz said. I don't think we did that in this situation. The public's trust is at stake as a result. Oh, the public's trust my ass. As a result of Jim's actions, Diaz said, we have to make sure that the public understands that trust is the most important value that the community bestows upon us. Right. I think that 99% of the people in Dade and Broward wouldn't trust you as far as they could throw you. Whatever you, Jesus. Fiedler, who was in San Jose at the Herald's parent company, Knight Ridder, said the decision to fire DeFede was difficult. Jim has been a strong and valued and fat voice at the Herald, and his departure will leave a significant void, Fiedler said in a statement. I'm personally heartsick about this, but we must hold ourselves to the highest standard of integrity if we're to maintain the trust of our readers and those with whom we deal. Those with whom we deal. Herald editors decided not to publish DeFede's column based on his interviews with Teele because it was obtained under possibly illegal circumstances. DeFede, a Herald columnist since June of 2002, who had previously worked at Miami New Times, stung colleagues with the news of his firing as editors were editing the final Teele stories for today's paper. As Teele was becoming unglued on the phone, I turned on the tape recorder because I could tell he was distraught and bouncing off the walls, DeFede told more than a dozen staffers in the newsroom. I made an illegal tape and the company decided to fire my ass. DeFede, who didn't want to comment further, issued a prepared statement. In a tense situation, I made a mistake, he said. The Herald executives only learned about it because I came to them and admitted it. I told them I was willing to accept a suspension and apologize both to the newsroom and our readers. Unfortunately, the Herald decided on the death penalty instead. DeFede had covered Teele for more than a decade. When Teele was arrested for allegedly threatening undercover police officers who were tailing him and his wife, DeFede wrote a column saying the charges should never have been filed and a partridge in the pear tree. How do you like that? So, Art Teele is dead, Jim DeFede is fired, and all of this crap. Breaks up the monotony of the summertime, I'll tell you that.
A little bit, yeah.
Here's what we got on our poll so far. 278 votes. What South Florida radio or TV personality do you hate like poison the most? Rush Limbaugh, 116. Nobody's going to touch that tub of lard. Rick Sanchez, 33. Dan LeBaster, 28. Little George Rodriguez, 21. They hate you, but that's not too bad, actually. And you're thinking you're going to win? No chance.
Eventually.
No. Todd Schnitt, 18. Steve Kane, 15. Mr. Homophobia. Spilky's Narade, 12. Mo Howard, David and Hank and I are all tied with 9. How do you like that? Geldy 4, Tony Cigaretto 3, and Lonnie Quinn's got one, another weather fairy. 5670560, pound 560 in the Verizon singular wireless lines, because I know we're leaving many names off of there. WQAM, hello. QAM. Moving right along. WQAM.
Homophobia.
What is it? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Turn that radio off. Yes, sir.
I just did. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, Neil.
Yep.
Just real quick, I was watching the TV last night when they were discussing this whole Teele business. They were showing, and they were showing, it was the same thing like the old O.J. syndrome where they were eulogizing him and glorifying him. And I just don't understand this whole culture of building up these people.
Slime balls. In fact,
well,
we actually have a...
What is that? What is that crap? They're making these guys like, they were such great public servants, but they were crooks. They were ripping us off.
Exactly. Crooks are murderers in O.J.'s case, or signal stealers.
Exactly. But so how did they get away with that nonsense? Just wanted to hear your thoughts.
What do you mean by that? How do they get away with it? Because they can.
But where do they come off talking like that on public television?
Because they're a bunch of ass kissers, basically. Everybody wants to be Larry King. They want to purse their lips and kiss everybody's ass. Don't you understand it? Everybody, kissy. The only one that they didn't want to kiss his ass was Bill Clinton, and that's because he was getting it in the Oral Office, you know? It was a sexual thing, and they knew that, the audience out there would be just foaming at the mouth about that. And so they just all piled right onto that. But everybody else, including this Nazi we got in there right now, so why should it come as any surprise to you, huh? Whether it's Hermann Goering Rumsfeld or Karl Rove or any of these people, the media just sucky, licky. That's what it's all about. Just like Wolf Blitzkrieg on CNN there a couple of weeks ago talking about that Dick Cheney told him that Guantanamo is like a tropical paradise. It's heaven there. What are these bastards, these terrorists complaining about?
Right.
If you believe the media, man, you got some real tourists coming. I'll tell you that right now. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing there?
Great.
Hey, listen, as far as Teele, man, he was corrupt and he was a piece of turd. But I'll tell you what. At least he didn't throw the race card out there. You got to give him that much.
Right.
I mean, like O.J. and Oliphant and all that. I mean, he didn't even try that. I thought that was
well, just wait till Jesse Jackson comes down to the Herald and starts storming about. You'll see. Well, it won't be long.
Hey, and as far as 2 holes in his head, I think 1 hole was already there probably.
Have a great day, Pally. Oh, no. That's a good line. That's a great line. Kind of like our general manager, hole in the head. Isn't that what they call them? Hole in the head, Greg? Everybody'd like to get a hole in one. A roadside bombing killed 4 American soldiers in southwestern Baghdad, and 16 Iraqi government workers died in a hail of gunfire as they left for work on the western edge of the capital. And 6 more Iraqi soldiers were killed in clashes with insurgents in 2 towns north of Baghdad today, security sources said. They're dying over there. Iraq's transitional prime minister called yesterday for a speedy withdrawal of U.S. troops, and the top U.S. commander said he believed a fairly substantial pullout could begin next spring and summer. Prime Minister Ibrahim al-Jafari said at a joint news conference with Defense Secretary Donald Hermann Goering Rumsfeld, and you notice that Rumsfeld's middle initial is H?
Right.
Donald Hermann Goering Rumsfeld.
There you go.
That the time has arrived to plan a coordinated transition from American to Iraqi military control throughout the country and get all our soldiers out of there while they're still alive and maybe in 2 or 3 pieces, for crying out loud, before it's too late. And then, of course, once we pull all our soldiers out, it's going to be civil war and a real bloodbath, and we'll say, well, now we got like almost 1,800 dead American soldiers. And if you look at the whole coalition of the unwilling, you got like about 2,000. I think we got to get like another 1,000 at least before we can finally pull them all out and say we did our best. Just pathetic. And the public sits back, but it'd be like that, just like that. Lemmings, goofballs, idiots. And what did I tell you about the human sacrifice thing with NASA, huh? This space shuttle crap, spending billions of your taxpayer dollars, accomplishing very, very little. And like I said, most of the scientific knowledge we get is from unmanned space travel, but nevertheless, and here we go with the foam again and the tiles and bada beep and well, there's no problem, just a big hole in the side of the shuttle. Yeah. You saw that thing. It didn't look too good, did it?
That's fine.
Would anybody get on a plane that had a hole in the side that looked like that?
Well, only if it was ValueJet.
I see. What's this stuff you're faxing me here? Conspiracy theory alert. Just read the article from the Sun Sentinel on your website. Could be a problem here. Was supposed to be a suicide. Excerpt from the article. Emergency personnel transported Teele to Ryder Trauma Center at Jackson Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:50 p.m. Rescue worker, I just read this, 2 wounds in the back of his head. The previous paragraph said, he said, just tell my wife I love her, and then shot himself once in the head with a semi-automatic handgun, police said. Just seems strange that a suicide guy shot himself twice in the back of the head. Well, no, those were exit wounds, but don't people shoot once in the temple, mouth, side of the head? Maybe he was running to the elevator and somebody shot him. Maybe somebody was chasing him there at the Herald. What do you think, huh? Just like with Kennedy, with JFK, well, they're going to make the exit wounds into entrance wounds or vice versa, you see? See how they do it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it calls for, like, Scotland Yard. Tell them forget about that bombing and terrorist crap, okay? They should be used to it with all the IRA bombing that's been going on over there for years, but we'll end in 3 minutes, so they say. Do we believe them?
No.
Well, the Northern Ireland, man, they're pretty militant. And just a couple of weeks ago, I forgot to talk about, we had the Protestant marching days. Speaking of violence. Protestant marching days as we put on our orange outfits and run through your neighborhood to see who can get most pissed off.
When it comes to sports, we're the authority. Sports Radio 560, QAM.
This is your brain.
Go.
Any questions?
If you're on the radio, you gotta use restraint. So the neocons can govern and control your brain. Don't use obscenities now.
Stop it
There's a reason for that.
They take ascension by distorting the facts.
You can officially want. No, you can't say that. If you're not very advocate of the Christian, then what you say on the air will be considered a sin. Don't put the president down.
Put him down.
For that.
Just like the body count that's back from Iraq.
You can officially want. No, you can't say that. Better make it clean. With reference to the Lord of Love for the FCC. We'll find you one day and take your license away. Boy, that for all I know could be a word to avoid. Or I could have my radio still be destroyed. So shut the signal down.
Shut it down. Except for White House cleared neocon acts.
You can officially want. No, you can't say that.
Whatever it is, you want to say it? Can't do it no mo. It's 11:03. Speaking of Mo, he'll be here at 2. Mad Dog at 4. Marlins baseball stuff later on. Speaking of Iraq, most important story probably of the century. And the reason I think a lot of people are checking this out on our website is they see the headline says, Simpson upset about missing Iraq footage. Wrong Simpson. Wouldn't you think that most of them assume that it would be O.J.?
Yeah, but who cares?
Because he's an anti-violence kind of guy, O.J. I got an O.J. story a little bit later on about that direct TV business, but we'll get to him. He's small potatoes. This is Jessica Simpson, a real intellect. She wants to know where missing footage of her and her husband Nick Lachey's harrowing trip to Iraq got to because she thinks Americans would like to see just how bad conditions are there. The pop singers turned reality. By the way, Duff, no problem. I'll leave the key even though the problem is down there as usual. Because if your thing is malfunctioning, then what the hell's it got to do with here? But no problem. It'll make you feel better. The pop singers turned reality TV couple traveled to the war-torn nation to visit U.S. troops as part of a recent ABC TV variety special, and they were both left shell-shocked by what they saw.
Oh, my God.
But all the controversial moments and harrowing footage of the trip didn't appear in the fun-filled TV show. Jessica Simpson says it was unbelievable. They didn't show a lot of what really went on with the enemy attacks and the shelling. There was so much stuff that went on, and somehow the tapes mysteriously got misplaced. It put everything in perspective for me. It really did teach me the definition of sacrifice. I can't even fathom being out there right now. I was ready to come home immediately, if not sooner, said Jessica Simpson. How do you like that? The tapes mysteriously got edited. It must have been just a mistake, wouldn't you think?
Of course it was.
It must have just been an oversight on their part, that they left all of that nasty, bloody, grotesque stuff out, because it's bad for business. Speaking of bad for business, Y100. Oh, and 25 minutes from now, don't let me forget. I'm starting, because I got such a huge pile here. I have a humongous pile.
Really?
But at 11:30, we're going to have all those stats. the hour by hours in the shower and tower at Power. But speaking of Power, speaking of FM radio, a programming executive now at Y100, a top South Florida radio station, figures prominently into New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer's investigation into payola and recording giant Sony BMG. How do you like that? Y100, the Antichrist. Especially that footy. What an ice hole. God. Oh, wait a minute. Here's, let's see. Regarding your dump button, all we heard was, blah, 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 and then you dumped it. We didn't hear anything.
Well, he heard it.
Well, that's what we dumped it for.
They still can't believe it.
Who can't?
The audience, they can't believe that we can't say that.
Oh, I see. No, I'm glad they did hear that, because that should give you an idea of how ridiculous stuff like that we can't say. Tell Joyce to relax. Right. Good luck. From Rich. It says, also the article in the Miami New Times published this Wednesday, yesterday, was Tales of Teele, Sleaze Stories, Sex, Drugs, and Rampant Corruption, Scenes from Grand Theft Auto. No, it's the art Teele you never knew. By Francisco Alvarado, and the inside heading says, male prostitutes and multiple mistresses, drug money in Gucci shopping bags, bribery and extortion conspiracies, and you thought you'd heard all about it, Art Teele. Check it out. This is what pushed him over the edge. Have a good vacation, Rich. Hey, Art Teele, you have a good vacation too, okay? And how come there's 2 exit wounds on the head? How come there's 2? There's only 1 bullet and 2 wounds, huh? Maybe, like you said, it's one of the magic bullets that went inside there and like did a little U-turn and,
sure. Rattled around.
No, but how can there be 2 exit wounds? It can only come out once. You can't have 2 exit wounds or entrance wounds or 2 wounds from 1 bullet. What do you think? I think we are onto something. On
the news reports, some of the news reports were saying that he shot twice, which I guess if you're fast.
Yeah.
So I
guess that would solve the problem. But the police said he only shot once. Well, what do the police know? Anyway, getting back to Y100. A programming executive now at Y100, the top South Florida radio station. Why has they got the same sentence on here twice? Oh, it's from the Herald, that's why. They have the exact same sentence here twice at the top. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Idiots. Well, they're like hyperventilating. They're under a lot of stress right now, especially that fat Jim DeFede. You're fired, Jim. You're fired, dude. In a settlement between Spitzer and Sony BMG announced this week, the multinational label agreed to pay a $10 million fine to avoid prosecution. According to the settlement, Sony BMG offered radio stations and their employees electronic equipment, vacations, and other bribes in exchange for radio airplay. Contrary to listener expectations that songs are selected for airplay based on artistic merit and popularity, airtime is often determined by undisclosed payoffs to radio stations and their employees, Spitzer said. Donnie Michaels, a DJ and assistant program director at Y100, a top 40 station in Miramar, that's what it says here in Miramar, received a laptop, trips to Vegas and New York, other goodies from Sony BMG, according to documents released by Spitzer's Orifice. Michaels received all of the gifts in connection with his work as program director and DJ at WFLY, Fly 92.3 in Albany. He joined Y100 in 2004. I see. So in other words, it wasn't Y100, it was him. But nevertheless, if the fish stinks at the head, you know what they say.
What did they say?
Shoot it. One internal Sony email dated January 22nd, 2004 states, we ordered a laptop for Donnie Michaels at Fly in Albany. He has since moved to Y100 Miami. We need to change the shipping address to Donnie Michaels, WHYI. What? Other Sony BMG emails dating back to 2001 request hotel rooms and trips for Michaels in connection with promotions for top artists Mark Anthony, Will Smith, and Jessica Simpson. In a November 2001 email, Michaels told a Sony executive what he needed for a listener giveaway: 2 hot-looking DVD players, 1 DVD-TV combo, big screen, flat screen, widescreen. Spitzer's office says personal gifts were often disguised as contest prizes. How do you like that? Oh, man. Michaels and executives at Y100 didn't return calls to the Herald for comment. Y100 is owned by Cheap Channel Entertainment, the country's largest radio chain, which also did not return a call. 3 South Florida radio stations, Miami Zeta and West Palm Beach WPBZ and WLDI, were victims of a fake call-in program where Sony BMG paid callers to request songs by the label's artists. Cute. Company emails outline how the fake fans should sound. They need to be going out or getting drunk or getting in the hot tub or going clubbing, said an email from the director of Top 40 Promotion at Sony subsidiary Epic Records. How do you like this crap?
Wonderful.
Sony BMG has acknowledged that it behaved wrongly and promised to rigorously monitor its promotion and prevent further abuses. The 2002 Herald report found out that payola was rampant in Spanish-language radio. Spitzer's investigation continues at other major labels, Vivendi Universal, the Warner Music Group, and EMI Group, and a major radio chains, including Clear Channel and Emmis Communications. That's the Emmis. How do you like that?
All right.
And here we thought that was all over with. Right.
Sure.
Here's the fax that says our Teele killed himself because New Times exposed his liking of transvestites and male prostitutes, just like Joe Gerstein, says Mickaroo. Well, how do you like that? Thanks a lot, Mickaroo. I wonder if he's related to Jackaroo, who does that crap on the sidelines on those stupid-ass college football games. Jackaroo. What kind of a name is that? You know?
I don't know. Made up?
Bad one. Jackaroo. What South Florida radio or TV personality other than Jackaroo do you hate like poison the most, more than anybody? I mean, we realize you hate all of us like poison, but most. 334. Rush Limbaugh, 135. Ricky Tiki Sanchez, 39. Dan LaBastard's got
about 30, man.
That's his audience. Hey, Danny boy, you talk a big game, but where's the beef, baby? You guys have kind of settled out at like a medium, about 18th, whatever the hell they are. Don't let me forget at 11:30, okay? When Duck comes running in there breathlessly. Tell Duck, I'll leave the key, okay? Just relax. George Rodriguez, 26. You're right on Danny Boy's ass. Todd Schnitt, 19. Mr. Homophobe, Steve Kane, 17. Idiot. Spooky's Narray, 15. Mo Howard David at 13. Hank Goldberg, 13. Neil Rogers, I only got 9. Damn it. Bill O'Reilly, 7. Geldy's got 5. You got 5, Geldy. Tony Cigaretto, 4. And Lonnie Quinn's got a pair. What is she? He? Is that a...
You fairy.
Whatever it is. So many weather fairies in so little time, you know what?
Yeah.
Kind of a nefarious occupation to be in, I guess. Good old Bob Soper, there was a good old heterosexual guy. He retired. And Bob Weaver, they shoved him out to pasture. All the straight weather guys, they either retired or they got shoved off the air. And then, of course, what is Don?
No.
Like Don No a lot. He's good. You don't like Don No?
I like Don No a lot.
Oh. Oh, you're just so just
claimed up. He's no Bob Soper.
12 minutes after 11. No, he's not as bad as Bob Soper, I'll tell you that. We love you, Bob. We miss you badly. Bob and Maryland. I wonder what they're doing these days. You think they're in that old weathercaster's home in the sky? That they're in the weathercaster's retirement home.
There you go. Right next to the radio DJ retirement home.
Yeah. The Emerald Coast is Florida's #1 Asian gourmet buffet. That's as rated by Zagat Restaurant Review. You asked for it, and now every Friday through Sunday night, Lobster Fest is back at the Emerald Coast by popular demand, featuring Maine lobster served Thermidor style. And you can still enjoy Crab Fest every night with Alaskan snow crab legs, Dungeness crab, and Jonah stone crabs. The menu still includes fresh oysters on a half shell, a sushi bar with over 30, count them,
about 30, man,
different items. In addition, the Emerald Coast has got your hand-carved prime rib, and from their flaming grilled, juicy, tender, delicious New York steaks, cooked to order just the way you love them. Top off a fantastic feast with dessert at the unbelievable 40-inch chocolate fountain, where you can hand-dip your own strawberries, marshmallows, other decadent treats, too. This isn't just a meal. This is a real pig-out. Emerald Coast promotes healthy living, too, because they don't use any crap, no MSG, no cornstarch. They cook all their fine cuisine with cholesterol-free canola oil. Book your reservations at One Emerald Coast, 3 locations in Sunrise, Sunny Isles Beach, Pembroke Pines. For the Emerald Coast, call 954-572-3822.
When it comes to sports, we're the authority. Sports Radio 560, QAM.
560 WQAM, your public-minded sport hole station, presents Ask the Chief Engineer, a forum provided for you, the listener, to question our crackhead engineering staff. And now, here to answer your questions, WQAM Chief Engineer, Terry Schiavo.
Hi, Terry. What's up? I wanted to know if it's true that WQAM cuts power down to a fraction of a watt between 10 and 2. What? 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 1 watt? Yeah, I figured. Thanks for nothing. Retard! Hello, Terry. Yes, I'm trying your amazing diet, and I'd like to know if I'm doing it right. Nothing else works. But now I'm shedding pounds every day.
God, it won't stop.
Hey, you Perry. Whoo, did I hear tube? Here, what you gotta do is roll the pizza like that and shove it in your mouth like that.
Did I hear
Tube?
11:19 at 560 WQAM. Most Americans believe the U.S. will lose the war in Iraq. 51% now say Bush deliberately lied about WMDs. 51%. Pretty weak. Americans are like, too many mugwumps. Oh, speaking of mugwumps, guess what movie I watched a little bit of? I couldn't watch the whole thing again last night.
Deliverance.
How'd you know that?
Well, you said mugwump.
Oh.
They got Leo pretty now.
Yeah. I was on again last night. It was, it's a great movie, but I've seen it about 100 times already.
Right.
Josh liked it. Corn sure is special, ain't it?
Oh, yeah.
Most Americans don't believe the U.S. will succeed in winning the war in Iraq or establishing a stable democracy there, according to a USA Today CNN Gallup poll. But an ambivalent public also says, and this is the part that is so sad, that sending troops to Iraq was not a mistake, aside that most people are not yet ready to give up on the war or just plain stupid. I think the latter is probably true. There's a lot of conflicting impulses here, says Andrew Kohut, director of the nonpartisan Pew Research. Yeah, Pew Research is an appropriate name for it, okay? Because there's a real stench coming from it. Oh, there's Jerry Adams. Says, we're not going to bum you no more.
Others, including those who have shown...
Including those, you damn Brits, you silly-ass Brits, you bunch of twits. The bombings in London this month have also roiled public opinion, intensifying a not-yet-settled debate among Americans about whether the Iraq War has made USA safer from terrorism. Oh, yeah, safer my ass. Strong fears that a family member might become victim of terrorism spiked in the survey, rising to their highest level since October 2001, just after the 9/11 attacks. Meanwhile, in Baghdad, Iraqi officials continue to draft a constitution due August 15. In the poll, for the first time, a majority of Americans, 51%, say the Bush administration deliberately misled the... Now, if that's the case, why don't we have impeachment hearings going on right now, okay? You wimpy Democrats, you weak-kneed jellyfish, you slime balls. See if we can say that.
Yes, we can.
About whether Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, he lied to it. The reason Bush emphasized them making the case for invading, the administration's credibility on issue has been steadily eroding since 2003. By a 58 to 37%, a majority say the U.S. will not be able to establish a stable democratic government in Iraq, and about a third, 32%, say the U.S. can't win the war in Iraq. Another 21% say the U.S. could win the war, but they don't think it will. Just 43% predict a victory. Yeah, big victory like Vietnam or like Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Still on the question that test fundamental. Also, what was I watching the other day?
I forgot.
Oh, it was about Reagan. It was it was on the Discovery Channel.
Well,
it was a documentary. It wasn't a movie. It was a documentary about Reagan and the whole business about lax security in Beirut is what allowed the terrorists there to kill the 241 Marines in the Marine barracks.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we followed it right up with let's invade. Where the hell we invade Grenada?
Yeah.
Remember?
Uh-huh.
Oh, because we're worried about the communists, and we sure don't want them taking over Grenada. It was kind of like our version of the Falkland Islands, Las Malvinas. Let's invade Grenada. Change the subject. This is just absolutely outrageous, okay? But this is exactly what's going on in America because you can't say crap anymore. That's why we got 75 delays. That's why we can't play about 80% of the bits we got here in a computer because, and like I said, what does censorship have to do with fighting terrorism?
Shut up, Connie.
I mean, it's one thing to try to make a connection between, well, Saddam Hussein's a bad guy and yada, and make up all those stories. But what does censorship, what does infringing on your right to have free speech and your right to privacy, like with the Patriot Act, parts 1 through 100, what does that have to do with fighting terrorism?
If you talk dirty, the terrorists win.
Oh, is that what it is?
I'm sure.
It may be President Bush's nickname for key political advisor Karl Rove, but some editors didn't think it belonged in their newspapers. About a dozen papers objected to Tuesday and yesterday's Doonesbury comic strips, and some either pulled or edited them. The strips refer to Rove, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, as Turd Blossom. Remember last week I told you that was Bush's nickname for him?
Right.
I just call him Turd. Lee Salem, editor at Kansas City-based Universal Press Syndicate, which distributes the strip to 1,400 papers, said the complaints from 10 to 12 newspapers weren't unexpected. As opposed to other times when editors have objected to Doonesbury content, the syndicate did not send out replacement strips. Given the coverage of Karl Rove, we thought it was appropriate, especially given the history of the strip, Salem said. Doonesbury's creator, Gary Trudeau, has infuriated some editors over the years with his language, images, and political themes because he's too honest. An email to Trudeau wasn't returned this week. Salem said that since newspapers don't have to notify the syndicate when they choose to remove a strip, it's impossible to know how many papers ran Tuesday's comic. In the strip, Bush and an aide are lamenting the problems the administration's had over allegations that Rove leaked the name of a CIA officer to reporters. Bush says, Carl sure been earning his nickname lately. The unnamed aide says, boy genius? I'm not so sure, sir. Bush then says, hey, Turd Blossom, get in here. The term is said to be one of several nicknames Bush uses for Rove, one of his closest allies, who's widely credited for Bush's phony election in 2000 and phony re-election in 2004. The mainstream U.S. media have rarely mentioned the nickname, but it's gained traction in the international press and on the Internet. Oh, God forbid the U.S. media would say Turd Blossom. Remember that show, Blossom? I sure do. Yeah. Among those with concerns was the Providence, Rhode Island Urinal, whose editors removed the offensive word from the strip's final panel. I don't think taking out the word would hurt, executive editor Joel Rawson said. I prefer to run the strip, and if we can edit it, that's fine, is what he said.
Oh, we're fine.
Other papers, such as the Kansas City Star, removed the strip entirely, replacing it with an older one. We thought it was in bad taste and probably unclear to a lot of people why we'd be using the term, said Steve Shirk, the Star's managing editor of news. Oh, give me a break.
Oh, my God.
Give me a breath. Even Joyce, the unctuous, repressive Joyce, who wouldn't know a radio if you stuffed a Sony up her ass, even Joyce hasn't said, oh, you can't say turd yet.
That's because we didn't ask
the memo's probably coming. The memo's probably on the way. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular Wireless line. Man, what a bass-ackward country America is becoming. It's really sad for those of us who lived through, those years, those golden years, those glory years. I can't say glory anymore either, can we? No, the glory.
No.
Yeah. Can't say the whole word anyway.
Half of it.
26 past 11 at 560 WQAM. We got the award-winning Mo Howard David. And any minute now, after the break, we're going to have like those hours. We're going to examine it. We're going to put it under the microscope, the stethoscope, the telescope. Huh?
Right.
And find out who did it and who didn't do it.
When it comes to entertainment, we've got the biggest personality. Neil Rogers, Vintage 10-2, Sports Radio 560, QAM. Sports Queer Radio is what the Q's for, QAM.
Oh!
Hey Jude, who's in your bed? Your girlfriend, or is that your nanny? Remember, next time just go lock the door, though your little children won't see when you score. Hey Jude, who just walked in? It's your daughter who had a nightmare. She called up her mother, who's your ex-wife, and that was the start of ruining your life.
Oh, Father.
What is it, love?
Who is that in the bed with you?
Go back to bed, love.
Is that Mommy?
No, it's not Mommy.
Is it Sienna?
No, it's not Sienna.
Is it the nanny?
It's the nanny, it's the nanny underneath me.
Why is the nanny underneath you?
It's a long story, hon.
I've had a really bad nightmare.
Not like the one I'm having right now. Go back to bed, will you? Back to bed, please.
But what are you doing?
Please go back to bed.
I need some more milk.
I need some more milk too. Go back to bed. Please go back to bed.
I've got to call Mother.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hey, Jude, what have you done? Was it worth it for just one night of fun? It's over. Everyone knows what you did. You got caught red-handed by your little kid.
11:33, 27 till noon. We got 389 votes on the poll. We can make 700 a day if we really put our heads together, you know? You think?
Sure.
If we really put a big move. Sean Hannity for the poll. Once we get his name on there, that's going to start moving up. Facts here says he's the poster boy for blind neocon agenda, pure propagandist, and phony. Is what it says here. Oh, a new study from Planet Jam looks at the usage patterns of portable MP3 players, iPod owners. The survey asked 30,000 radio listeners about their MP3 player habits and how it affects their radio listening habits. Out of radio listeners surveyed, 15% said they... Oh, you did get that thing I sent you, didn't you, by the way?
Yes, I did, and it's already been processed.
Out of radio listeners surveyed, 15% said they already own an iPod or other MP3 player, with 24% say they plan to purchase one in the near future. Out of current MP3 player owners, 23% said they currently listen to their favorite radio station less often now, though 13% said they listen to their favorite station more often. Why that would be, I have no idea. When asked where they use their MP3 player most often, 44% said at home, 29% said in the car, and 26% said at work. Which, of course, don't affect us very much because that's mostly music people. And, of course, you can't complain about the music on here in South Florida because there isn't any.
Right.
Oh, sorry, Power 96, sorry. And don't forget about them. They're going HD. Oh, here's the stuff from Duff already. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. That child is really on top of it. Look at this. Men 25 to 54. Now, you people out there that don't care about the ratings, well, just hang on. Because I got this really good article, Who's Taking the Blame for Christian Violence, that I'm going to read in a minute.
Good, I saw that.
Yeah, oh, that's a good one. Getting a lot of response, too. Thanks, Eric, by the way. It's a fine job you did there on the stats so we can see who's reading what. A lot easier. A lot of people are reading that. And it's an excellent point. Anyway, here we go. Men 25-54, what is this? This is, hourlies. Let's look at these. Holy moly, rat man. Look at that. Oh, jeez. Let me put a little circle around those 4 hours. All I can say is...
Oh, God.
Wow. Wow. And look how that drop off there.
Yikes.
See, one thing about when... I'm not going to do it. I probably shouldn't do it. In other words, give my honest opinion. This place, this management screwed up so bad. You see, the Mad Dog, when he used to come out at 2 o'clock, he used to keep the same number. In other words, he would maintain the huge audience we would turn over to him. Now we got like a little... Now maybe that you and Mo were kind of bonded yesterday. Maybe that might do it, although I really doubt it very seriously. 5 to 6 a.m. Let's see how the Big is doing. We got a 3.2 share. This is Men 25-54. 6 to 7 a.m., a 3.2. That's really...
rock solid.
Not too good. Consistent. 7 o'clock, the Humper, he's got a 3.4. 8 o'clock. Now, yes! Yes! Yes!
Yes.
I don't want to say I told you so, Clarence, you idiot, you quizzling, you...
You fairy.
But, now isn't, Josh can correct me if I'm wrong, 8 o'clock hour... Isn't that the hour that Hank has had this awful Ira Windbag and Mike Berardino, all this other stuff, this tune-out crap? Isn't that the hour, 8 to 9?
Yes.
Starting to make a little move there at 7 with a 3.4. And then at 8 o'clock, a 2.4. And guess what? They don't come back at 2.5. It's the kiss of death. You people won't listen to me. You won't listen to what I tell you. I don't care how many sponsors you got. I don't care how many of you got your head up Ira's ass. It's a tune-out, okay? How many times can we hear? And oh, God, you crazy people, you bastards, you. You're killing the Humper. You're giving him like a death wish.
It's unbelievable.
Haven't I been screaming about that?
Yes, you have.
Well, what do I know? He's just a big old fag troublemaker. And then, so he's got a 2.4 at 8 o'clock, a 2.5 at 9. 10 o'clock, we go to a 9.8. 11 o'clock, a 10.1. Then Rush comes on at noon, and actually we always go a little down because I understand some of you can't help yourselves. An 8.1 at noon. At 1 o'clock, an 8.6. Look at those 4 hours, baby. Circle them. Look at him and weep. Has Greg come in there and kissed your ass on both cheeks yet, or what?
Has who?
Greg. Your close personal friend, Greg Reed. You know, the one that's winking at everything with a skirt on in the building, Greg. Then, so we got an 8.6 at 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, we got back to a 2.5 again. So Mo goes back to where the Humper left off. Must be those interviews with Gil McDougall's nephew. 3 o'clock, 2.7. Then the Mad Dog at 4 o'clock, a 5.4. Oh, thank God for the Mad Dog.
All right.
Then at 5 o'clock, he's got a 5 point.
No,
a 5 point. That. And then at 6 o'clock, a 4 point. Followed by 3, well, whatever. I mean, the rest of the numbers are insignificant. At 1 o'clock in the morning, we have a point. That's Sporting News Radio. We got a point. Man, nobody is listening at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now 2 o'clock we got a 4 or 5. So 2 to 3. That's when they're all the guys are dragging in from the nudie bars.
That's a hot hour.
3 o'clock a 0.9 and 4 o'clock again we got a 0.0. 2 hours there from that sporting news crap, man. It's a killer overnight. I know that this cheap ass company, they're not going to pay somebody to be on overnight. I understand. That's pretty sad. Okay, what's this other stuff he's sending me now? Let's see.
Stuff, make up
10 to 2.
What you will.
Look at that. Look at that. I just want to say it one more time, okay, because it makes me feel, and thanks again to everybody who helped us out.
We're number 1, damn it!
9.1 share, 10 to 2. 9.1. Not a 2, not a 3, not some